Frutiger Aero, also known as Web 2.0 gloss, is an aesthetic that was prevalent from roughly 2004 to 2013, succeeding the Y2K futurism aesthetic while overlapping with the McBling and Electropop 08 aesthetics. It is characterized by its use of skeuomorphism, nature bubbles, glass, Frutiger fonts, abstract tech, and bright, vibrant colors, usually consisting of greens and blues. The dates of the aesthetic blend a lot with the early days of Web 2.0 gloss and the transition from feature phones to smartphones. Despite this aesthetic being 20 years old according to the wiki, it actually had a resurgence in recent times along with Y2K and other 2000s nostalgia. Now, I myself didn't grow up in the early or late 2000s, I was a 2010s baby, but even so, looking at these images makes me feel a sense of bliss and comfort that often comes with nostalgia. The way all the tech is not taking over or ruining the beautiful nature around it, but rather blending in an eco-friendly way. This is Frutiger Aero, the future of the 2000s we were promised, but never got.
Mic check.
Good morning, Internet. My name is Jay, and today I want to talk about an aesthetic that has recently gained my attention, Frutiger Aero. As I explained at the start, this aesthetic was one that started during the early 2000s, but has gotten more recent attention with other Gen Z nostalgia. The whole style has this refreshing skeuomorphic vibe that reminds me a lot of iOS 1 through 6, and while I never got to experience when it was super big, I still feel mild nostalgia for it since my mom has a lot of stuff from when I was little that perfectly fits this vibe, like flip phones or first gen iPhones. If you don't know what skeuomorphic means, basically it's just a design choice to make digital things resemble their real life counterparts. This is why I brought up older iOS because it's probably the most prevalent example of this, like the Notes app appearing as a real leather notepad or YouTube being a realistic TV. But skeuomorphism and futuristic design choices don't just come from iOS, but other devices as well. One of my favorite examples of this whole aesthetic is actually from a gaming console, one that holds a special place in millions of people's hearts. I am of course talking about the Nintendo Wii. Now, I'm sure you already know about this 2006 worldwide sensation of a console, but just in case you're more of a PlayStation person, I'll give a quick refresher. The Nintendo Wii was being developed shortly after Nintendo's biggest failure, the GameCube. The GameCube was never bad by any means, and I actually like this console, but just due to competition, the GameCube never saw true success. Nintendo needed something amazing to survive the late 2000s, so along came the Nintendo Wii. This console was one that encouraged players to get up and move around rather than sit hunched over, and it accomplished this with revolutionary motion controls that would be used in a variety of sports games. This also gave Nintendo a huge upper hand in the market as they could sell this console to the elderly since it allows for risk-free ways of enjoying more action-based sports like baseball or boxing. All of that combined with how it was marketed effectively made this a must-have for all families, and it sure worked because even to this day, almost 20 years after its original launch, me and my family have had a blast with it. One time my older siblings came over to visit for Thanksgiving, and I forgot who initially asked in the first place, but by the end of the night, we were all having the time of our lives with Wii bowling and archery. So not only is the Nintendo Wii timeless, but wait. Yeah? Weren't you just talking about Frutiger Aero? What's this rant for the Wii for? Oh yeah. So, are you gonna remove it from the video? The reason I bring up all this is because Nintendo Wii's UI, and specifically the original Wii Sports tile, perfectly encapsulates this aesthetic with all of its bubbly, colorful, and charming vibes. Literally every action on this thing has its own unique jingle or tune that gives it so much charm that recent consoles just kinda lack, if I'm gonna be honest here. I think this is another reason why people have been going back on these older styles as well. Stuff now just doesn't have the same soul it did back then. When I go on the Switch's eShop, and instead of being greeted with fun, catchy music, all I'm given is this, I think it becomes painfully obvious why I would rather buy a Nintendo Wii to mod so I can play Mario Galaxy 2 as God intended. But now that you know why I and a lot of others like this aesthetic so much, I would like to take a look into how this started. Who exactly came up with this design philosophy, who coined the term Frutiger Aero, and why was this beautiful, hopeful future abandoned? The term Frutiger Aero was coined in 2017 by Sophie Lee of the Consumer Aesthetics Research Institute and went viral in 2022, leading to renewed interest in the aesthetic. Frutiger Aero contains many sub-aesthetics which include but are not limited to Frutiger Metro, Technozen, Frutiger Eco, and Helvetica Aqua Aero. Frutiger Aero is named after Adrian Frutiger, who created the Frutiger fonts commonly used alongside Frutiger Aero. The earliest signs of Frutiger Aero were found back in 2001 with Windows XP's Bliss background and Mac OS X's skeuomorphic design. But the real point where it got from slightly resembling to true Frutiger Aero was with the release of Windows Vista. The mainstream adoption of Frutiger Aero then began in late 2004 with brand new technology such as the Nintendo DS, PlayStation Portable, and the Apple iPod with its Silhouette advertising campaign. There are of course a ton of other devices that started using visuals like that later on, but needless to say, 2004 to 2011 was a huge golden age for this aesthetic. With the release of iOS 1 and Windows Vista, Y2K futurism slowly faded out as tech started to become more human. This beautiful dream of a world with bright, eco-friendly tech finally set in, as Frutiger Aero became not only a style, but a symbol of hope in some ways. Looking at Frutiger Aero images like this on a surface level, it's kind of hard to see how it could feel warm or comforting to anyone, but to me, it's just so beautiful. I can't even explain what it is. The vibrancy, the complex tech, who knows? All I know is that this is a future I can get behind. But this sadly is not where the story ends, because in 2012, the skeuomorphism the world had gotten used to faded away in favor of more flat design that would eventually become the corporate Memphis style we know today. This is also the reason why many people consider iOS 7 to be the last good version of Apple's operating system. Because even if iOS 7 and many versions after it had extra features to improve iPhone, there would always be this sense of soullessness knowing how much charm was lost. Maybe it is just nostalgia speaking here, but I really mean it when I say it is a huge shame this whole style was ditched so quickly. But with the change in time during the 2010s, it was clear something new was needed. That's why companies switched so quickly. Anyone who didn't make these types of changes would just look outdated and therefore be left behind. But now, here we are, in 2025, even more than a whole decade since Frutiger Aero's death. Part of me wonders if this means that the aesthetic will see the light of day in mainstream media once again soon. I mean, the answer is probably no, but it's fun to dream that maybe Gen Z designers who replace the millennial ones will see how soulless everything is and try to bring something new. So while it may not be in the exact shape or form, there's still hope that Frutiger Aero could see a comeback. After all, history does repeat itself in pretty insane ways. Well, that's it for today, folks. Thank you all so much for watching, and real quick, I want to give a huge thanks to the Aesthetics Fandom Wiki for providing all the information in this video. I couldn't have done my research without them. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one. Jay signing out!